KTjamesx, and I have been chronically ill for pretty much my whole life, but really noticeably sick for the last about 10 and a half years. And just that, like, the journey of, like, first getting really sick and then to where I am now has been such a learning process, and I just feel really honored to be able to share it here and share some of kind of what I've experienced. There's a lot of just, like, how, like, the question of, like, how am I gonna get to do all these things that I want to do and I feel pulled to do and I need to do in the world, and, like, here I am in my early 20s having doctors compare my joints to that of a 65-year-old. Like, so it's just, like, it's honestly kind of soul crushing in a way. But as hard as it is to be a young person with chronic illness, and as much grief I feel like happens with that, and as much kind of like reworking how you go around your life and achieving your dreams and goals, there's also like a wisdom that comes with it. They have a lot of insight into life that, and death, and the balance between the two, that most people, no matter their age, don't have. Advocating for yourself, and I know for me, like, I've gone through periods of, you know, feeling like, oh, I'm doing such a good job advocating for myself. I've also gone through periods where I feel like I can't fully advocate for myself with the doctor without them, like, finding my knowledge about something to be threatening. And so there's, like, this fine line that you need to walk. And
most people who don't know are like, oh, it's easy and you go through and you get taken care of. It's like,
oh, fuck no. Like, like, no. It's all on you. Like, you're gonna have to research. You're gonna have to go in there to your doctor and go, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is what's happening for me, and if you're not gonna take me seriously, then I'll find another opinion. And, like, honestly, I think when you hit a level of chronic illness and a level of disability, like, it becomes a full-time job. Like, how much time I spend on the phone, or even just, like, anxious about getting on the phone. Yeah, because there's so much, like, the way the system is set up, it's not set up to be, it's not for the patient, like, it's for the profit. When I first got sick, I was in my last year of elementary school and missed so much school that basically my teachers were like, well, we want to hold her back a year. And my dad was like, that's not happening. And I didn't even know about it. I wasn't included in this conversation or decision. Started school a couple weeks late because I was in the hospital. And it was a really, like, rough transition for me. Like, I had a TENS unit, so that's, like, you know, has a bunch of little, like, electrodes that you stick on your skin that try to interrupt pain signals. And I don't use it anymore, but at the time, like, that was one of the things. And I would, like, kids would give me a hard time about it. There was a lot of rumors that I was making it up. You know, some of it was totally innocent, like, they're just trying to ask, but still, like, it's none of their business. Like, I had a couple instances where I accidentally shocked myself with it. It's a little embarrassing, and, like, crying just in the hallway, like, whoops. I got through middle school, though, and, like, had a lot of difficulty with that, and actually was in the nurse's office so much that the school nurse was like, you can't come to my office. I wasn't allowed to go to the school nurse's office. Yeah. Oh my
that
god.
happened to me too.
Oh my god. Yep. I'm pretty sure it's not legal.
Yeah, wait, you should clarify that.
Yeah, we went to the same high school.
Yeah,
we're both sick. And we were both treated like shit. I'm in 8th grade. I hate my school, and I don't use that word, like, lightly at all. But was coming home in tears, like, every day. I didn't have any friends in my grade. It was just really tough. And I was missing so much school for doctor's appointments that, like, I was just having a really hard time academically. Even though I was still like making good grades, it was just a constant struggle to do that. And so I applied to boarding school. My symptoms were becoming more systemic, and I think that some of like why I applied to boarding school was I was really scared, and I also thought that like maybe if I just entirely shift my life and like start over, that I'll get better. I still had this thing of like, how would I do this? But like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to boarding school. Anyway, applied to boarding school, got into boarding school, really wanted to go, didn't get any financial aid, had to stay at my school. I had a 504, and even though the 504 was helpful, like at least at our school, even though it is a legal document that they legally have to abide by, no one would follow it. And so like we had to call in the like state. I knew kind of in the back of my mind that there was no way that like 4 years of this would happen. Like I was in year one of it and missing so much that I couldn't attain what I needed to attain. And meanwhile, here I am, like, freshman in high school, like, I want to go to this medical school. I'm going to graduate this year from high school and this year from college, and I'm going to get a full ride. And, like, I had my whole life planned out, and it's okay because things change. My sophomore year, I started being an ambulatory wheelchair user because the pain and muscle spasms in my legs had just gotten so bad that I wasn't able to comfortably really do much of anything. Pretty much always used it at school, mostly because I felt like if one day I went in without it and the next day I went in with it, people would flip. Ambulatory wheelchair users are people who can walk, but for whatever reason use a wheelchair. Because we live in a capitalistic like society and world, everyone just assumes that everyone else works once you've hit a certain age, and like, no, not everyone can work. Would I like to be working? Yes, I would love to have a job, but like I physically can't fucking do that. But then how do you answer that question to someone when they ask it? Because if you say I'm on disability, you get an ableist answer of like, oh, I went to like get my blood drawn recently and I have a central line and I don't let them use my central line to draw my blood because it creates like a higher infection risk. And so they just use a vein. And the lab tech drawing my blood was like, "Oh, you have great veins. You don't need a port. Why do you have a port?" And so like she doesn't know my medical record. She doesn't know my story. Embracing your experience with illness and what it throws your way and using it as a teacher and a gift. And that's really what I've tried to do of like, yes, this sucks. Yes, I'm pissed off about it. Like, yes, I'm really uncomfortable, but this is my life, at least for now. And like, how can I find a way to have more like peace with myself and that reality? First thing I do is I take my meds for my blood pressure and heart rate, because as soon as I'm upright, my blood pressure drops, my heart rate skyrockets, and I just feel like crap and I can't really do anything. And then I have a dog, so I usually have to like get up and get him outside, which is both hard but also really helpful in just like getting me out of bed, because otherwise I might just lay there all day. Take him out, like I feed him and I take him outside. I take that little like vial that you saw me pour into the water, so I take an antihistamine that like coats my stomach in water. Every other day I do a liter of saline, and so it takes me about like 10 to 20 minutes to set up my like bag, and then I'm attached to a pump for 4 hours, so I just have like a backpack with that, but that kind of limits like what I can do, especially when it's winter time. I can't really go outside. 35 pills a day, plus or minus a few depending on the day. Then also 1 day a week, I have to access my port, and that takes like a solid hour. Yeah, I'm just exhausted, honestly. Like, I think that's what's really hit me recently, is just like, how the fuck am I supposed to like get through the rest of my life with this? And like, I mean, my hope is that I won't need to be on all these meds, and I won't need to be on saline, and like I won't need to keep stabbing myself in the chest every week, and like etc etc. But like, I think it's also really like set in for me that I don't know what the future holds, and like all we can do is be here now. But I somehow think that I need to also like prepare myself, because I really don't know. The things that I have been told, like, sure, things can go any which way, as has been very evident in like, I'm sure anyone's experience with chronic illness. Like, the things that I have been told are in the future for me medically are not things that I want to be in the future for me, especially when you are like independent and on your own. Like, again, not everyone has that level of help and support, and when you don't have that, it's kind of scary, especially when things start to get more serious, because it's like, how am I gonna get the support I need? How do I navigate this? I guess just that, like, in my personal belief about life circumstances, and specifically talking about illness, like, yes, I have a genetic disease. Yes, that technically means it's permanent and lifelong, and I was born with it. Like, it's been there my whole life. It'll probably be there my whole life. But again, like what we talked about earlier, I really think that like the story and narrative we tell ourselves about our situation is so important to like our destination. Patience. Yeah. I was a really impatient person before, and now I'm just here now. And it's, yeah, abilities that I took for, like, physical abilities that I took for granted before, that like either changed or I no longer have at all. Again, like, it's all about just patience, like, with myself, with others, with the world, with life. All right, my advice for healthy people is to just go fucking live your life. Like, do everything that you want to do, because all you have is now. It's like, we live in such a messed up world, and the truth of it is that like, money is not going to bring you happiness, things are not going to bring you happiness, experiences are going to bring you happiness. And like, I'm not trying to like press that on anyone, but like, go experience what you want to experience in the world. Like, you don't know when that's going to get taken from you, your ability to do that. Like, treat your body as a temple, and like, go around the way that you treat your body as if you're trying, like, with the intention to be healthy and to be well and to be like able to do what you want to do. And so like, food is medicine. What you put in your body is all medicine. Just be conscious about it, and I don't know, be kind to it. Like, yeah, don't take it for granted. There's this like saying that health is a crown that only like the sick can see or something like that, and being aware that you get to wear that crown, like, don't take it for granted. Don't take the crown for granted. Like, also, don't assume that everyone else that you're around has that same crown on.